Okay, hello viewers. It's a brand new week. It's Monday, and I figured let's do a special lunchtime video today. And what is the video going to be about today? You made me wondering. Well, PinePowerLI recently did a video last week talking about why he wants to move to New Jersey. Now, New Jersey is an appealing place like Tom's River, and I can understand where he's coming from. And okay, maybe it's close to New York, but here's the thing for my point of view. I'm looking at Delaware based on a lot of the economics right now. And obviously, many of you know that I have contemplated the idea of leaving New York should somehow, some way, Kathy Hochul gets a 4-year term. I already have a friend of mine in Mineola. She's thinking about moving to Florida in the long run, just because the crime is getting out of hand, the taxes are getting out of hand, and also a friend of hers who just got married back in June, who's also one of my close friends. She just got married to her fiance back in June, and they're already planning to move to Florida anyway. But here's the thing. If I move to Florida, I'm going to feel like I'm isolated. I don't want that. And I'm going to get into the main reason why I want to move to Delaware. And there's a bunch of other positives and a lot of other negatives are going to go along. And this is going to be a pretty lengthy video today. So there is a lot that I do want to talk about specifically. Now, I will talk about the Pine Barrens specifically because there are a lot of beautiful pine barrens out in southern New Jersey that I would like to consider visiting. And you know, I will admit, I looked at car insurance. I'm telling you, I can easily get a car insurance quote for $80 a month down there. I am not paying $120 a month in New York for a car. I completely refuse to do that. No, that's too expensive. Versus $80 a month. I mean, that's reasonable. I could afford that. But besides that, we're not going to really talk about that as a major factor. But we are going to talk about the main factors why I want to move to Delaware. Now, I'm going to pull up Google Maps in just a second, and I want to show you the community that I'm thinking of moving to. Okay, so now we're on Google Maps, and we're taking a look at the specific area of Delaware that I would like to move to. Now, Newark is a very sexy appeal, and here's the thing with Newark that made me say, well, I'm not really thrilled with the idea of Newark as a whole. Now, the good thing about Newark is, okay, I'd be closer to the Blue Hens. You know, I could see a lot of their games, but here's the thing. I'm not going to sacrifice parks. That's the main thing. Sure, it's closer to Maryland, but here's the problem. Then I'd be more isolated away from New Jersey. See, the thing is, to get to New Jersey from there, it would take a lot longer, and especially because I have a friend who lives in Morristown, and I want to be closer to her, and of course my other friend who's her brother, of course. You know, I just feel that, you know, to feel isolated from New Jersey really wouldn't be a good idea. There was a house I was looking at south of the Delaware Turnpike, but it got sold, and I'm kind of glad it did because I do have to mention this to my realtor that Newark is going to have to be out of the question because, yes, even though Newark, and I'll draw the analogy because Delaware's official color is light blue. So let's see if we can do a light blue color. Let's see. We need to do like a light blue color because that's the official light color of Delaware. Ooh, I can't really do a light blue as much. That's more purple. Ah, okay. There we go. Yes, just like the website. So Delaware's colors are light blue and it's light green. And I know this for a fact. So here's Newark. But again, here's the problem. Then, okay, I can get right to New Jersey, but here's the problem. Then it would take longer for me to get to my friend in Morristown. And I would not want to have that as, a major inconvenient factor. So there's that to equate right there. Okay, sure. Maryland is... Let's see if I can erase this. Let's see. Clear all. Here we go. Sure, Maryland's right here, but then, I'd feel a lot more isolated. So that has to be out of the question. Then we go to the community that I want to move to. Specifically, this stretch of Route 202. Now, I have already thought this out. I've already thought this through. This is the hotel that I want to stay at while I'm moving my stuff. I'm not going to give my address out because a certain individual on Jamaica Avenida knows where I live. He knows who he is. I'm not going to call him out specifically, but obviously no one's getting my address in Delaware. That's a given. But yes, Doubletree by Hilton's a beautiful hotel, and that's where I would be staying, because then I'd have access to a lot more amenities. I have ShopRite of Brandywine, very good supermarket. I have Giant, which is actually the parent company of Stop and Shop. So this stretch of Route 202 basically fits my needs. And the best part is, I'll even show you the Concord Mall for an example. Let's see if we can pull this up for a second. I mean, you have a beautiful shopping mall right here. And in this mall, and in fact, let's look at the Boscovs for an example. This was my main factor of why I was thinking of moving to this specific area. If I move to Newark, then here's the problem. Then I gotta go all the way here near Christiana, and I'm like, the only reason why I would ever go to Christiana is if I needed to go to the Apple store. That would be it. Thankfully, from Route 202, and I'll show you on the map, Route 202 takes you right to 95. I can take 95 and it takes me right to the mall. So there's not really much of a big loss if I'm living off Route 202. So the Boscovs, let's show you where it is on the map, because that was one of my main factors. So this is the road that takes you right to Boscovs. Now, Boscovs is right around here. Yeah, here's the Boscovs. So obviously, I love Boscovs. Everybody knows that when I'm in Salisbury or when I'm in Dover, I like Boscovs. Boscovs is a beautiful store. And this is the location I've yet to visit in Delaware. So I love looking at the clothes. I love looking at the candy aisle. And, you get a lot of good prices on clothing down there. Ever since Sears closed, it's like Boscovs has been my lifesaver before COVID. So Boscovs is a great store I like to visit. And as I said, you got ShopRite. But my main factor into the move was this. So you see here, Brandywine Creek State Park, beautiful hiking trails. And we're going to get into that as we watch a couple videos from Life According to Briggs as we go along here. And we're going to try to debunk him as best as we can. Because, I figured, why not? Let's debunk Road According to Briggs as we go along here. But Dart Bus, some of the routes run every half hour. And I'll do that in another video because I don't really want to get into it as much. Because, again, that's not the point of the video for today. What I want to show you is this. See, you got Brandywine Creek State Park, which is operated by the state of Delaware. They do a fantastic job maintaining it. Then you got Winthrop Museum and Garden. And it kind of reminds me of a specific place in Long Island that I used to go to all the time. And in fact, I even got an opportunity to volunteer there once summer, right by the Sid Jacobson JCC. So I'll specifically show you where it is in Long Island. Let's go to it right here. Should be here on Northern Boulevard. Yes, this. So this is the Nassau County Museum of Art. Here's the problem. It is not as big as the park that I'm talking about today. The park that I'm talking about today in Wilmington, because again, this is technically Wilmington, Delaware. Now, people give Wilmington a bad rap. Okay, no. You need to go on Route 202. That's where the nice part of Wilmington is. Wilmington is a beautiful municipality outside of the city. Okay, sure, Farmer and the Cow was a good restaurant. Don't get me wrong, but who wants to go downtown? This is what I'm talking about. This is a beautiful, beautiful garden. And, I don't want to sacrifice that. It kind of reminds me of planting fields in Oyster Bay in a sense. It looks beautiful. It's a nice place. And, a lot of people come from Pennsylvania even over the border. Now, good thing also about this area is the hospitals. Now, you have Pediatric Center right here, Nemours Children's Hospital, right off Route 141. But the main factor, you got Christiana Care. Now, okay, they can be time from time criticized, but Christiana Care is a pretty good system. But the main thing that I want to get into, and I think this is the important part here, look how much I have close access to 4 states. So the area that I want to move to, let's start from there. Okay. So the main reason why I'm thinking of moving to the Brandywine area, which should be right here, okay? Obviously, Pennsylvania, right here, and I know up Route 202, there's a farmer's market, Boots Corner, you got, believe it or not, you have Whole Foods over the border in PA. Okay, there's some Pennsylvania sales tax I may have to pay, but it's worth it. Then you got, I believe it is Wegmans. Yeah, Wegmans right by Concordville. And this is a nice area, don't get me wrong. It's definitely something that would appeal to me, but the other factor is, look at this, and let's actually zoom out a little bit more. So let's reset this. Let's zoom out one more notch. So here we go. This is what I wanted to do. So, like we just mentioned, this is my starting point right around here. So here's Pennsylvania. Right around here. Let's do this general area. So this is one of my main factors. So this is 322 right here. And guess what? It takes me right to 295 where I can go see my friend in Morristown. If I want to take the New Jersey Turnpike, the New Jersey Turnpike is right here. So it would take me to the areas of southern New Jersey that I'm definitely very familiar with. And speaking of which, there's Morristown right here. Look at that. There's Morristown. So that's one of the positives that I was thinking about. Now, if I want to go to Philadelphia, Philadelphia's right here, and they really have a good zoo. I've been to the Philadelphia Zoo a couple of times. Folks, I'm telling you, the Philadelphia Zoo is underrated. I don't know why people don't visit it. I love the Philadelphia Zoo. I think it's better than the Bronx Zoo, to be honest. Because the Philadelphia Zoo, I feel, is more fun areas to explore than the Bronx Zoo. The Bronx Zoo just feels like you're a little bit more overwhelmed. And I'm not happy with the Bronx Zoo, I'll just be honest. Now, there is a zoo, Brandywine. Brandywine is a pretty good zoo too, but I prefer to go to the Philadelphia Zoo. And from time to time, I'd love to check it out. Now, the other positive of, again, being in the community of Delaware that I was thinking of moving to was, of course, having access to 95, and it would take me right over here to, let's say, Baltimore, for an example, or maybe if I want to go further down to Washington, D.C., Washington maybe would be about a 2-hour drive, which I could tolerate it, because I know the rest stop's pretty well off 95, so there's one other main factor why I would love to move to the community known as Brandywine. Now, let's say if I wanted to go to the beaches. Let's say if I wanted to go to, you know, the area that I was thinking of. Let's go to the beaches. So here's Delmarva, and I can actually make out the map pretty well from here. I guess our president can't really read the map anymore. Sorry, Joe Biden. But let's do an analogy here. Now, this is Newark, right around here. Here's the problem. I'd have to take Route 40, go out of my way, just to get down to, let's say, Rehoboth Beach right here. I'm sorry, but that would stress me out. I'm not happy living in a community where I have to go from Route 40. And it's very hard to access I-95. That's another thing why Newark has to be eliminated. And I'm going to have to tell my realtor this sometime this week. Likely tomorrow I'll tell her, since Monday would be easier to reach out, because I'm recording this on Sunday. But yes, pre-planned videos, folks. That's why I love YouTube. So again, think of this being as a long dog moan, as a good analogy. Do I want to go from Route 40 just to access Route 1? No. So, as the analogy, let's go on Route 202. Now again, I'll show you Route 202, and I know the stretch of 95 very well. So let's do a street view. So this is 95, right? This is it right here. So, obviously, I would be going on 95 south, right? This is Route 202, and it would take me right to 95, and 95 would take me right over to where Route 1 is. And Route 1, right from there, is very convenient. All you have to do is cut through downtown Wilmington, okay? Cut through downtown Wilmington on 95, and it takes you right there, which is pretty convenient. Now, if I wanted to, let's say, cut down to 495, yeah, I could do that, but then here's the problem. Cutting to 495 would only be the reason why I'd go on SEPTA, and we'll get to SEPTA coming up next, and then we'll get to the Pine Barrens. So, obviously, in terms of taking Route 1, Route 1 would be right here, and it would take me right to Rehoboth Beach. Route 1 takes you right to Rehoboth Beach. And obviously, I'm not going to sacrifice a large part of my life. I love Rehoboth Beach. I've been going to Rehoboth Beach since I was a teenager. And, you know, I just don't want to have that sacrifice out of my life. I need access to Route 1. So, obviously, Lewis is a nice area. They have a couple taverns over there, and I really want to check out. But, yeah, here's Dover. Now, before COVID, I'd love to be in Dover, but now they got rid of the buffet over there, and the Downs, I have no need to be there. Smyrna does have a nice diner, don't get me wrong, but Bear used to be a nice community, but Bear is out of the question. I don't want to move to that community, so has to be this area, folks. Has to be this area. So again, Maryland is accessible. Pennsylvania is accessible. New Jersey's accessible. And that gets into some of the public transit. Now again, I'll do a specific video on public transit another time. I don't want to get into it today, but this would be my future station on SEPTA's Wilmington line. And it would take me right to 30th Street. And I've told Jonathan this numerous times that, hey, you know, if you want to go to Atlantic City, let me know. I'll gladly go with you one day and we'll take the Atlantic City line. So, Obviously, it's not going to be New Year's Eve. That's a given. So I think sometimes Wilmington does have a New Year's Eve event, but I'd have to find that out. But yeah, that would be one of my main reasons. And then last but not least, what we are going to do is take a look at some of the Pine Barrens. So my main Pine Barren factor, and obviously this would be the main factor of where I would want to go. As an example, this is Brandon Pine Forest. Show you right here. This is Brandon Burn State Forest, right around here. The good thing is, go here. Guess what we see, folks? That's right, Pine Barrens. Yep, the Pine Barrens is right here, right off Route 70, which obviously I know how to get to Route 70. And how do you get to Route 70, you may be wondering? Well, from my geographical knowledge, all you have to do is take 295. So there's one way I could do it. The other way I could do it, and I know this very well through Mount Laurel, I could actually take the New Jersey Turnpike, get off at exit 4, and it would take me right over there. But then here's the problem. The Wawa's right here, so that would be the Wawa where I would actually take my restroom break before I would head over to Burn State Forest. So, yep. So let's take a look for a second. Let's go back to Brandon T. Burn State Forest. So, again, beautiful Pine Barrens. Beautiful Pine Barrens, as you see right here. Well, those aren't really Pine Barrens, but here are the piney bushes. Yep, here's some right there. See? Look at that. Pine Barrens. So, New Jersey has better Pine Barrens than New York does. And I've told this with, of course, PinePowerLI, of course, and he agrees with me. Toms River would be another factor. I could go to Toms River. Don't get me wrong. But here's the problem. Going to Toms River via Route 70 can be a little bit of a pain in the neck. So, sure, Route 70 is nice. Don't get me wrong. This is Route 70, if I'm correct. Yeah, see, that's Route 70, but then here's the problem. You have to deal with all those traffic lights, and it's not fun. So, this is where it gets a little bit complicated. I could go to Seaside Heights. So, down the line, I wouldn't mind doing an option where I could take 195 and cut back the other way. And if I'm correct, I think Allure State Forest has some Pine Barrens. Let's take a look before we get to the World According to Breaks videos to, of course, wrap this up. So, I think there's some pines over here, but I'm not too sure. I have to look it up more. But yeah, beautiful forests. You know, New Jersey has a lot of these. And as I said, this is why I would rather, you know, have that. And then Six Flags. Six Flags is right here. I love going to Six Flags. I love, to be honest, I've been on King to Cause fun. But everybody knows my favorite roller coaster at Six Flags is El Toro. My favorite wooden roller coaster. I think it's better than the Cyclone, to be honest. Just personal preference, but yeah. Those would be some of my factors of moving to Delaware. Would be the beautiful parks. I know there's another park in Glasgow, somewhere around Route 40, that I have wanted to visit as well. There's that as a factor. So, what I want to do now is watch a couple videos from World According to Briggs. But before we do that, I want to mention the economics. There's no inheritance tax. There's one factor into it. The property taxes are way, way lower. Houses are dirt cheap down there. And of course, the best part, no sales tax. Again, Delaware has 3 malls. We have Concord in Wilmington. We have the Christiana Mall in Christiana. And then, of course, you got the Dover Mall. So 3 malls you can go to in Delaware. So now let's watch a couple videos from World According to Briggs. So I'm going to be fast forwarding a little bit through the video because thankfully Briggs did reorganize some of these stuff. And the first 2 reasons are completely dumb. Haunted. That's the best part about Delaware's history is that, yeah, we have a couple haunted places to explore in October, but that shouldn't make you not go to Delaware. So, yes, here's number 8. And again, this is a thing that I do want to debunk.
Number 8. Small and boring. At only 96 miles long and 30 miles wide, Delaware is the second smallest state in the country, right behind Rhode Island. Living in a smaller state does have some positives, but it has just as many negatives. A smaller state means less options. WalletHub.com ranked Delaware's nightlife 50th. Number 1 was Nevada. Entertainment and recreation was ranked 48th, as was performing arts theaters per capita. They ranked 47th in restaurants per capita, and all-around fun, they were 46th. Number 1 was California. In other words, if you want to have a good time, be prepared to drive across the state line. Number 7.
So, again, that's one thing that Briggs talks about is that, oh, it's a small state. There's not that much to do. Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to drive further south to Sussex County and go to Lewis, Rehoboth Beach. Here's the thing. The nightlife is, of course, in Dewey. But everybody knows what happens in Dewey. And I've dealt with it numerous times going back to Maryland and Ocean City. So, obviously, I want the access to Ocean City. Everybody knows I want access to my condo. And, researching... And sorry about that. There's a car outside my house right now. But the thing is, that's the best part. Again, it's a small state, but I'm moving to the part of the state where, again, I have a whole tri-state area to explore. I have Pennsylvania. I have New Jersey. I have Maryland. The best part about it is, I could explore those all new areas and it wouldn't get boring. And I'd love to check them out time to time. And I could even get to the Poconos in 2 hours. So, yeah, boring is one thing, but, yeah, now the taxes thing, it's kind of, oh, well, Delaware doesn't have that much funding, but yeah, this video was done before COVID, and we actually got federal funding from... And this is a good thing about Delaware that a lot of people don't realize now. Delaware still has a lot of money left over, believe it or not, from the first federal COVID stimulus. Believe it or not. Remember that CARES Act that President Trump signed in 2020? Well, apparently, Delaware is actually ranked the most responsible state out of all 50 states. One of the most responsible states to use its CARE funding for infrastructure improvements. So, John Carney, again, he's doing a pretty good job down there, unlike New York. So, Delaware does have a pretty decent government. There's no question about that. Now, here's something dumb. Strange laws. I've known about these for a while in Rehoboth Beach, so, yeah, here's the thing. This is kind of dumb. Just watch this.
Now, I always like to add this one because they're normally funny, and they also kind of give you an idea of how the locals think. The first one is pawnbrokers can't accept wheelchairs, fake legs, or fake arms for payment or pawn. Now, okay, I get it. I don't have any missing limbs, and I get around without a wheelchair, so I've never thought about pawning those things, but I find it strange that they actually had to put it into a law. Now, the second one is in a town. Every October 31st, kids enjoy trick-or-treating all night long as a Halloween tradition. It's just what they do. But not the kids living in Rehoboth Beach. For one reason or another, they can only enjoy this tradition from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Halloween. And if Halloween falls on a Sunday, they must trick-or-treat the night before on the 30th during the same time. Rehoboth Beach has a couple other strange ones. One, you cannot pretend to sleep on a bench in Rehoboth Beach. And the other one is they have strict rules when it comes to outfit changing. It is illegal for you to change your clothes in a vehicle or a public restroom, so come prepared. Or just don't go to Rehoboth Beach. Number 5.
So, I will mention the reason why Rehoboth has that in terms of changing clothes in the, vehicle or a, in terms of restroom or vehicle. That's because that's the way to conserve the quality of life. So, I agree with those rules. We need those rules. And keep in mind, we do have people who live in Rehoboth year round. We do. And we don't want kids going crazy egging cars. Because a long time ago, that actually happened. I don't remember when, but it did happen. And the town board voted to have that rule a very long time ago. And, Rehoboth is very strict. All right? You got to understand that Rehoboth Beach is it's a very strict town. And that's why I love Rehoboth. They don't tolerate that. Tyler Fight Club, no good jobs. Yeah, here's the thing. My field nursing is actually doing pretty good. So we're not going to watch this. Instead, what we are going to watch is got the beach towns, yes. Again, health careers are picking up. But this is what I wanted to watch, right around here. So, as I said, we are going to fast forward through some of this. So, here we go.
Number 7. Nature. Delaware is very underrated in terms of beauty. This state is beautiful. With sandy coastlines in the east, then towards the west you'll get into the trees. A bunch of trees. The state has about 16 state parks with over 100 acres in total. And that's a lot of hiking land. If you are a hiker, try Swamp Forest Trail. It's about a 6.8 mile moderately trafficked loop located near Bear, Delaware. It has amazing wildflowers. The path is shaded 90% of the time. Lum's Pond is in the middle of it. It's good for all skill levels. Even if you're older, like I was saying, most people in Delaware tend to be, it's decent for you. The paths are nice. Just watch out. There's a lot of roots in the path. Just be careful of that. Enjoy this place. Take a camera.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that hiking trail, and I am going to go to it. There's no question. But I said that was one of my main factors of why I wanted to move to the community that I did, because I still could take Route 1, and Route 1 would take me right to that hiking trail. And of course, my parents are going to be retirees soon, and that was one of their main factors. And again, clean beaches. This is another main thing. Rehoboth is a very clean beach. But the problem is, and this was a video that was done before COVID, recently in Rehoboth Beach, the sand has been evaporating, and the bad news is the town of Rehoboth announced that the sand would not be fully replenished until around 2024. So that's kind of unfortunate that we have a smaller beach right now. But by 2024, it should go back to the way it was back in 2019, from what I've heard. Yes, we do have history in Delaware, but again, fiscal stability. Lowest tax rate highest tax rate. That's very good. And we got pretty good restaurants. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, this is where I'm going to have to end up moving. And the way it looks right now, and especially because, everybody knows, again, why me and Pine Power may be leaving New York for good. You know why? Because of her. Because of her. Alright? So, there's a good chance after my birthday that I'm going to have to really, really make a determination. I know I said I don't want to live in New York. I've said this, numerous times, alright? But another factor of my move was, considering my move, is obviously access to New York. I have Amtrak. Wilmington is a major stop on the Northeast Corridor. And the good thing is, let's say if I wanted to go on the Pascack Valley line, for an example. I have cousins who live near Spring Valley and Nanuet on the Pascack. If I wanted to go to Secaucus, all I have to do is just take Amtrak's Northeast and then get to Secaucus. Then I would change for the train over there. So, I told my New York friends, if there's ever an emergency, I have a good reason to have Amtrak available. So yeah, those are the many reasons why I'm thinking of moving. And again, I'm sorry if I keep bringing her up, but she's going to be the main factor why I may be leaving. Because I'm sorry, but I'm not dealing with 4 more years of Kathy Hochul. That's the final straw with me. So, that's pretty much it. And I'm going to do a separate video on public transit. I'll go into Amtrak, New Jersey Transit, SEPTA, and Dart Bus more specific in another video. So, that's it. Thank you for watching.